In July of 1518, a woman in Strasbourg stepped into the street and started dancing. No music, no celebration. She just started moving and could not stop. Hours passed. Her feet bled through her shoes. She kept going. Within a week, dozens of people in the same city were doing exactly the same thing. Within a month, it was hundreds. This is not a legend. This is one of the most thoroughly documented medical mysteries in European history. City records, physician notes, and sermons from the time all describe the same event. People dancing in the streets of Strasbourg for days, some for weeks, until they collapsed from exhaustion, strokes, or heart attacks. And this was not even the first time it happened. A nearly identical outbreak had struck the region 144 years earlier, in 1374, spreading along the Rhine through multiple towns at once. Whatever this was, it wasn't a one-time fluke. It was a pattern that kept coming back. So the city of Strasbourg did something that seems insane by today's standards, but made complete sense to them at the time. They believed dancing mania was caused by a curse from a saint, Saint Vitus, and that the only cure for compulsive dancing was more dancing. So they built stages. They hired musicians. They paid healthy dancers to join in and guide the afflicted through their fits. They believed this would burn the sickness out of the body. Instead, it made everything worse. More people joined in. The music attracted crowds, and the crowds seemed to trigger new cases. Physicians eventually stepped in, banned the public dancing, stages, and shipped the worst cases off to a shrine dedicated to Saint Vitus, where priests performed exorcism-style rituals until the dancing finally stopped. For centuries afterward, historians didn't know what to do with this story. It sounded too strange to be real, and too well documented to dismiss as folklore. So what actually happened? One popular theory blames a fungus. Ergot, a mold that grows on damp rye, produces a chemical compound that is a close relative of LSD. Eating contaminated bread can cause hallucinations, muscle spasms, and convulsions. For decades, this was the leading explanation, but historians studying the actual symptoms started noticing problems with it. Ergot poisoning usually causes violent convulsions and the sensation of burning limbs, not coordinated, sustained, rhythmic dancing that could go on for days at a time. People suffering ergot poisoning generally can't stand up, let alone dance, for a week straight. So historians began looking at a very different kind of explanation, not chemical, psychological. The region where this happened had just survived a brutal stretch of famine, flooding, and disease. People were already malnourished, grieving, and living under constant religious fear of divine punishment. And there was already a well-known local belief that Saint Vitus could curse people with uncontrollable dancing as punishment for their sins. Historians now believe what happened next was a form of mass psychogenic illness, sometimes called mass hysteria, where extreme collective stress expresses itself through the body instead of through words. It has happened in smaller, well-documented forms, even in modern times, groups of students suddenly developing identical unexplained symptoms with no biological cause found afterward. The dancers of Strasbourg weren't faking it. Their bodies were reacting to something completely real, trauma, fear, and belief expressed physically, and then spread by watching each other do it. The city's own solution made this worse for a simple reason. If your culture already believes dancing mania is contagious and can be caught by watching it happen, then filling the town square with musicians and afflicted dancers isn't a treatment. It's an invitation. The mind is capable of producing symptoms as real as any virus, fevers, paralysis, seizures, with no pathogen involved at all. We like to imagine the line between body and belief is solid. Strasbourg is one of the clearest cases. In history, that it isn't. Under enough fear, grief, and shared belief, a body can start dancing and genuinely not be able to stop. Not because of a curse, but because the mind decided it had no other way left to scream.